in the house from Reidsville, North Carolina, the one and only Bounty Hunter. Hunter, welcome to our show here, Bigs and Small.
Yep.
Glad to be here. Glad
you
to be
are
here.
in the middle of what I guess it's the hot seat, the hot area.
It's get a little hot right here sometimes.
A little hotter than the collar. Yeah, maybe.
Well, tell us about your racing this year at the Madhouse.
Well, we've had some trials and tribulations, but we're steadily getting there. We started off at the beginning of the year with some chassis issues, and then we had some motor issues, and we're slowly getting back to where we ended last year. So I think we're going to come back real strong in 2 weeks, and we're going to have something for them.
So September 22nd is when you're going to turn the program around.
That's the plan, anyways.
And you're going to have your tires right. Who does your tires?
Austin Banker.
Austin Banker.
Bubba.
And so you get the tires right and the motor right. You're
Solid.
the wheel man, right?
Now, one thing Hunter is known for this year, he's won a few features this year, but he's been a part of 2 races. At our practice, he actually won the Gamblers race.
Oh, yeah, the
very first
race of the
period
season
we had was the Gamblers race, and Hunter won that. But he was also a part of the 29-minute, 14-lap slugfest that was clone medium. He'd come out of that unscathed with the checker flag. So he has had his share of successes, but you know.
Man, I thought that race was never going to end or never going to start. I just wasn't doing nothing.
You telling me?
It was just yellow. It's like a yellow sheet was over the track.
Yes, it wasn't too good.
But when they was racing, it was a ball burner. 25 carts, one discombobulated before they start. 24 carts started. I mean, man, it was boys have at it.
Mm-hmm.
It'd been good to have that many this Saturday night with the track it was. Wasn't that much dust, or I believe it'd have been some.
Track was a little off, but I mean it was good. It was good considering the rain we had. I think you ended up with what? I think you got a 5th in one of the classes.
I think so.
So I know you're a little off, but I know, like I said, coming back 2 weeks on September 22nd, getting ready for that Maxis National Transfer Shootout we're going to have on the September 29th. We're going to get ready for that big show. I know you'll have that redemption dialed in.
That's the plan, anyways. I better be ready.
I think our promoter here is going to do like he did for the Blue Ridge Rumble and have a little qualifying spots already guaranteed maybe in this race on the 22nd. So you might also qualify in and not have that pressure on qualifying and having a discombobulation and not making a show for the money. So that's always good. That's a good promoter taking care of his hometown crowd.
I know for the Blue Ridge Rumble we had Chase Benfield and Stephen Crouch earned their way. They didn't qualify as good, but they didn't have that pressure to have to qualify on time. They were automatically in the field. Yeah. So I think that's something that would be really good to do on September 22nd. Maybe throw a little money out, throw some invitations out. Got a makings of a good show.
Always a good makings of a show when you get a little money, ain't it?
That's right.
So on this go-kart, who is the main man on this go-kart that you're riding? I know you got to thank some people.
Oh, well, first off, I got to thank my dad. He's sort of the money man behind everything. Without him, I couldn't even get to the racetrack. And my grandpa, he's there every weekend. I think in the last 10 years, he's missed maybe 2 races. So that's showing support right there. We recently got on board with the Bankers program, and it's been good to us. We've turned our season around pretty good since we got on board with him, and I've been pretty pleased so far.
You talking about his tire program there?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir, pretty much.
Okay. Yep. As far as go-karts, I mentioned Redemption. You're on the Trick Olympic. You've been on that this year. This is a new kart for you this year.
Yep, brand new. That's been part of our problem at the beginning of the year. New chassis, new year. You just got to figure everything out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You definitely have to figure it out. Whenever you go to the racetrack and you're having engine issues or chassis issues, it takes you a while to recover from it because you have to really fine-tune everything and make sure you rule out one area, then you move on to the next area. And but once you get it all together, it's a thing of beauty. So I think the Bounty Hunter is going to be. I think he's going to be there on the 22nd. The field better look out.
That's right.
For the flying number 42 from Reidsville, North Carolina, the Jack and Jack show. That's
right.
Papa Jack and your dad's Jack, right?
That's it.
Man, 2 Jacks, and that's pretty good for cars, ain't it?
Yeah, 2 Jacks. 2 Jacks and a Hunter.
2 Jacks and a Hunter.
That's right.
They go hand in hand.
Who does your engines?
Todd Miller, we recently switched to him this year. He's been pretty good to us so far, and I really like the horsepower he puts out. So I think we're going to stick with him for a pretty good while.
You're going to stick with Todd for a while?
Yeah.
So a few people down there running Todd stuff. Yeah, actually, there's a lot of people down there running Todd stuff. So
the engines down there, you see them every week. You got Todd Miller, I've seen misuse, Daryl Dalton racing engines, TWL. I mean, then there's some others
Junior
in there.
Sands,
Junior Sands, CKI.
yeah.
I mean,
Most definitely. It's
The
parity. It's good parity.
the money's contributed over all your engine builders, so which is good. Then your chassis are kind of a lot of people on different chassis.
Yeah, we've had several guys. Probably two of the most popular chassis out there, the Phantom Triton and the Redemption. I know several guys that are on the Redemption. So, what made you switch? What made you switch to the Redemption?
Well, we had a Firehawk and we had Falcons before then, and we always had better luck on Olympics. We won a lot of races when I was in the plate classes with those, and we just sort of wanted to get back to the basics of how we used to run. And the Redemption just had come out, so we said, well, heck, we'll buy one of these. We had some people helping us and telling us, there's going to be a good go-kart, and we saw the results, and we said, well, we'll go ahead and get one, see how we like it. At the beginning of the year, we didn't like it so much, but now I'm starting to get on it, and I'm liking it more and more. And
So how many races this year? I know you've won a few at the Madhouse, but how many races total have you won this year? I know you've won a few big races at other places.
we've won, I think, 4 or 5 races this year, and I think every race we've won this year, it's been a big field, which that's always a plus. Big field, big payday.
Yeah.
So
Big field, big payday, big bragging rights.
that's right.
To beat a dog, you got to outrun the dogs. I mean, you don't want to run with a few puppies and then be the dog.
That's right.
You want when you win, you want to outrun the best. You're just as good as they are.
One thing about racing here and at Providence, and I'm sure you'll agree, but we have probably some of the best competitions that you'll find.
We got some heavy hitters.
It's awesome competition there.
What do you think about racing at the Madhouse? I know you raced with us a lot last year. I know you guys went to the beach one time. You've only missed one race this year, but you've been there supporting us every week. What do you think about the racetrack?
I love Providence. It's probably one of my favorite tracks around. It's good that it's sort of close to home, and it's a good family atmosphere. I like that. You ain't got a bunch of fighting and cussing and carry on like you do everywhere else. It might be called the Madhouse, but it ain't.
Yeah, that's something we do have the name of the Madhouse, but
it's usually pretty calm.
it's nothing like Bowman Gray.
No.
No, sir.
The only one I've ever seen go through the infield after somebody was my 2 boys when they first started racing. Jacob chased Caleb from one side of the track over to the other with his go-kart. He went through the infield. But
I remember that.
I seen that at the Bowman Gray this year on the stock cars, but I hadn't seen it in the go-karts yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
And I don't want to jinx it. Not yet.
Anything is possible.
We could see Hunter doing that next week, but
Don't say that.
I don't think so. I don't think we'll have that problem.
I mean, if they go through there, maybe it's the last night and they won a championship and they're out there cutting donuts in the grass, maybe a little dew and they'll spin on around. But don't get too far because David has a rock pile in the middle of that thing.
Yeah. We do have a few traps in the middle of that infield
It's
for sure.
not visible. You can't see it with the grass up, but it's there.
And those pipes go down pretty far. So, I've almost stumbled in there before with the lawnmower. It's not fun.
I mean, you work there?
I do occasionally do a little stuff around there.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you done any
I like
track labor.
I like to look pretty. I do.
Yeah, right. I mean,
but
got to keep you fresh.
But I like to look pretty, but I like for the track to look pretty.
Oh, track look! I'll tell you what. I've been to some. We just started in the karting last year. I've been to a few tracks, and we do have about one of the best looking racetracks it is.
That would do.
I mean, to go in that grass infield is just as green, and that track, and then the banks are clean. Once we get a bathroom, can't nobody top us. Once we get rid of them porta johns, they ain't got nothing.
Well, we're not going to get rid of them.
Well, you can't never get rid of them. You always need extra.
No.
I mean,
you got to have.
you got to have it porta.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Martinsville Speedway has porta johns.
Yeah, they do.
Right.
They do.
So.
Yeah. We got to continue. That's a racetrack tradition.
Right.
You got to. We got to just have to continue that.
What's your future? You gonna be a karter? You gonna step into dirt late models or asphalt, or do you even want to do that? Or are you comfortable with racing go-karts? I mean, you're a young guy.
Well, the plan all along was, just get a go-kart and get the basics down, and then it was move on to a dirt car. But we sort of got pretty heavily involved with the go-kart thing. You know, it's addictive racing.
Yeah.
You know, I know my cousin, he's a drag racer, and he got a go-kart now. You can't hardly get him off of it. So go-kart racing is very addictive, and
Yes, it is.
but we'll see where the road takes us and go from there, I guess.
I don't know if your dad's like I'm addicted to it, and my boy races, and I think I want to go sometimes more than he does.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the weeks off,
I
unless
know.
you're going somewhere, and if you he's got to have more races. Maybe not for points, but some money, something on these weeks off.
So you're saying I need to add to the schedule next year?
Yeah, run 3 times a month. Give him 1 week off.
Wow.
Run your normal point schedule every other week, but run some of those nights because you don't have an open practice night.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you had open practice one night or something like that where people could come test and everything and not run that weekend, yeah, maybe.
Okay.
I mean,
Giving out some pointers here, are we?
well, not with the guys, with the kids, 1 round of practice, then just the heat, and if it's really not enough for their seat time. You know, if we had a little bit more just for the youth, you know, they would get better, and that's what every racing is. You got to have your youth because that's your next generation.
And Hunter can attest to this. A lot of tracks where you go to, you have 2 rounds of practice and you go into heats. Well, guys like me and Hunter, back when I raced, I raced before, but
And again, coming soon.
coming soon, yeah. He probably would sit out the first round of practice. He wants to wait for that track to come around and get good, and then he's going to go out there second round of practice. That's what I eliminated this year was the second round. I mean the first round. I just basically made it 1 round of practice only. Force everybody to go out there, and it's really worked. But the drawback is not really enough time on the track for the kids and everything. But
Well, you have an adult open practice, and see y'all. Then that's when y'all can go. We have 1 round. If we had an open, but it's kind of hard. We got 2 different kind of junior classes. The age group.
well, you basically have 3. You have the reds, you have the greens, and blue. So
Right.
you basically are going. Once you go that route, you really have to open it up to just. Hey, you might as well do another round of practice. So
Right, you're true there because some is not running as fast as others.
Very true.
And when they run up when a blue plate runs up on a red plate, that's somebody's just a beginner.
yeah.
It can be havoc.
It can be so. But Hunter, you know, are you going to finish out the year strong? I know, looking at the points, you're right there on Crouch's tail. You're right there in the mix. Can you pull it off with 4 to go?
I've been doing some figuring in my head, and I think if the stars align right, we might could get Crouch. I mean, he's been tough all year, but I think if everything goes right,
he is very beatable. He's very
beatable.
Yes, he's good, but he's beatable. So
3 to go.
3 to go. Excuse me. It was
3-point races to go. But Steven's been kind of lucky. He gets shuffled back, but it's more laps to go and he gets to come back. He's getting shuffled at the wrong time for a points deal. I mean, it's good for him, but I see him get kicked back, and I'm like, well, it's going to be a good points night for these other guys when you call on a race. Oh, no, you know, he's going to have a bad
And then
night.
the caution will come out.
Caution comes out, then the next thing you know, he's back to 3rd.
Yep.
You know, but that's racing.
racing luck. Racing luck. Exactly right.
Well, thank you for coming all the way up from Reedsville to be on our little show, and we look forward to talking to you again, and maybe, you know, we might get this thing program going a little bit where we can do a little interviews in Victory Lane or talk to the top 3, or when you discombobulate, you know, I want to see them emotions, you know.
One thing about it, though, for media night, are you going to let Biggs ride your car?
if he can find a seat big enough, go for it.
Oh, he's going to fit in the seat that you're in. I want to see that.
Right.
I'd like to see that.
Gotta see.
All right, we're going to take another break, and we'll be back to wrap up this show. This is Hunter, the Bounty Hunter, the Small Biggs. We'll be right back.